Good afternoon and welcome to Education USA's GRE Bootcamp, day 2 of a 3-day bootcamp that prepares students for the GRE exam. My name is Afisha Beckles, the Education USA advisor located in Port of Spain, Trinidad and Tobago. So just a quick introduction to Education USA. And let me just maximize this. So for those who may not have been here with us yesterday, I'll just briefly explain what Education USA is. We are a global network of advising centers that fall under the US Department of State's Bureau of Educational and Cultural Affairs. We provide accurate and comprehensive information about accredited US higher education institutions and provide students with free information on the process of studying in the US. These are a few of the frequently asked questions that we get from students, and I would advise you to visit Education USA's Costa Rica's Facebook page for a recording of yesterday's session where we talk about these frequently asked questions in a bit more detail. So again, we go through this 5 steps to Education USA's study, where yesterday's session, I did go through this in a little bit more detail, and in the interest of time, I would refer you to yesterday's recording so that we could get to the meat of today's session. So today's guest presenter, just like yesterday, Sorani Marin, who is the Associate Director of TOEFL and GRE Client Relations for Costa Rica, Colombia, Honduras, Mexico, Panama, and Cuba. She is a psychologist and master in education and diversity. So happy again to have Sorani with us here for day 2. And I look forward to today's session where she will cover quantitative measures. Correct, Sorani?
Yes. Okay, thank you, Afisha.
Sorani.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much, Afisha. Okay, good afternoon again. Good afternoon again. So remember that today we're going to be talking about quantitative reasoning. Okay, I told you yesterday that this is the easiest part of the exam, and you're going to see why. But I also promised you guys to talk a little bit about a GRE home edition, because I know some of you are planning on taking this exam like in this format at home. So first thing I would do is, I will recommend you guys to check with the universities. Okay, check with the universities first if they accept, okay, GRE home edition. Pretty much sure most of them are going to say yes, but that's recommendation number 1. Okay, so I think I'm going to start working on this overview for a GRE home edition. So let me share my screen. Remember, if you have questions, you can type your answers in the chat box. And okay. This is very important, my email. Okay, my email. Have received a couple of emails from you, which I haven't replied. Okay, I'm gonna do it tomorrow morning. Okay, trust me. And I'm gonna be sharing materials with you. All those things that you requested. Okay, so this is my email. Please take a picture of this slide, just in case you need something, any kind of support, chicos, remember, with registration, the creation of the ETS account. If you have a problem like with your name when you created your profile, like probably a typo, you made a mistake. So as you can't do this, you can't correct your name from your ETS account, I want to be more than willing to give you all the possible support, okay, with this. If you're planning on taking this exam, GRE, a home edition, and well, we're going to talk about this, like if there is a power cut at the apartment, or if internet connection fails, or we're going to talk about it in a minute. But in any case, my email, again, is extremely important. Okay, so this is something that information that I gave you yesterday. Remember that the exam has 3 different sections: verbal reasoning that we covered yesterday, and you saw that it's not that complicated. But again, remember that my recommendation for to prepare for the verbal reasoning section of the exam is to use the prep materials that you're going to find in our website. Also remember that when you create your GRE account, yes, they are going to, I think they are going to give you the GRE official guide. So that's a great, awesome, like the best resource for you to prepare. So you're gonna, you're going to find like all those passages and sentences and that are going to have like that vocabulary that you need, okay, to get like a good score in the verbal reasoning section. Additionally to this official guide, remember that in our website, in the link that I shared with you yesterday, you will also find our power prep. I'm sure you're gonna love the power prep, okay, because that's I would say the best way for you to prepare for the exam, to familiarize a little bit more with the types of questions and with the timing of the exam, etc. Okay, so verbal reasoning, quantitative reasoning, which is the section of the exam that we will cover today, and analytical writing. And that's what we're going to cover tomorrow. Okay, so remember that this exam, as I said yesterday, same as TOEFL IBT, and GRE, they are accepted in 100% of the universities of the United States. Okay, all the universities in the United States accept TOEFL, IBT, and GRE. So this is commonly used for master programs, MBA programs, specialized masters in business programs, doctoral programs, wording fellowships. And remember that different from TOEFL IBT, the scores, the GRE scores are valid for 5 years. Okay, TOEFL IBT for 2 years. And this is the exam. Okay, so for verbal reasoning, I don't know why this is in the middle, should be like the first in the first part, but this is the official presentation. So the verbal reasoning, that's the first part of the exam. Okay, it has 2 sections, as I said yesterday, 20 questions per section, and then 30 minutes per section. Right after the verbal reasoning, you're going to continue with the quantitative reasoning section of the exam. You will find 2 sections in there. We're going to cover those 2 sections today. 20 questions per section and 35 minutes per section. And then the last part of the exam is the analytical writing section of the exam, 1 section, 2 different tasks, and 30 minutes per task. Okay, and you're gonna see that that analytical writing is completely different from what we do in TOEFL IBT. Okay, which one is easier, Sorani? I would say that this one is easier, but that's my opinion. So this is what I'm gonna share with you. Okay, TOEFL, GRE home edition. So we're gonna talk about eligibility, requirements and accommodations, what you do before you registering or rescheduling, test day and scores. So number 1, home edition, GRE home edition and the GRE you take at a TOEFL site. Those are the same. Here it says IBT, sorry. Okay, but those are the same. Yeah, the same exams. Okay, GRE at home or the GRE you take at a TOEFL site, same exams. Okay, same content, same on-screen experience, same format, same. The cost is just the same. Payment options just the same. Same scoring and score reports. Okay. The prep materials are the same because the content of the exam is just the same. So what are the differences? Difference number 1, of course, that you're going to be taking the exam at home. So if you're taking the exam at home, you're going to be using your own computer. Okay, so that's 1. You're going to be using your own computer. So you have to trust your computer. Okay, so if you feel like your computer is quite old and you don't know if it is going to work, there's a virus, yes, somewhere in there. So if you're not sure, you can always ask a friend, ask your brother, your sister, to lend you your computer, like a better computer, so you can take your exam at home. So you have to really trust your computer. So if you're taking the exam at home, it means that the conditions are going to be different, okay? So during the check-in, the proctor, the person that is going to be, looking at you and giving you all the possible support for all those 3 hours and 30 minutes, that is the length of the exam, okay? That person is going to ask you to show him or show her, that's the proctor, okay? Like all the 4 walls, the ceiling, the floor, the place where you have like the table or the desk where you have your computer. That person is going to take a picture of you, is going to ask you to please show him or show her your ID, and so that's different, right? Because if you go to a TOEFL site, the process is different. I mean, the proctor is there, the administrator is there, so everything is just different, okay? So this is something that you're gonna have to do. So we're gonna talk about checking in a minute. And what I just mentioned, if you're at a GRE site, GRE or TOEFL site, because that's the same, you're gonna have, the proctor and the administrator of the exam. They both, they are going to be, like supervising the administration of the exam. Okay, as you're going to be taking your exam at home, you're going to be monitored by a human proctor. It is going to be a person. It is not a machine. It is a person that is going to be looking at you all the time, okay, through your camera. Okay, in fact, if you have questions, you can talk to the person and the person is going to answer. The person is going to reply for sure. If you don't feel comfortable like asking a question because probably you're gonna say, no, if this person talks to me, yes, in English, probably I won't understand. That can happen. There's always, a possibility to type your questions. There's a chat box in there, okay? So you will never be alone, all right? And there's something else. Your session from the very beginning till the end is going to be recorded. It's going to be recorded. And this is something that, doesn't happen in a TOEFL and GRE site. So you're not recorded there, you're just supervised. But in the case of home edition, GRE home edition, you're gonna be recorded in case, something happens on your side or on the other side, right? Because this is, technology. Who can take this exam at home? Any person, yes, any person. And something really interesting is that in the case of GRE, the GRE that yesterday, I think I mentioned that dates for GRE, for example, for TOEFL IBT, you can find, like dates pretty much every week, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday, AM and PM sessions, right? That's for TOEFL IBT. For GRE, it's a little bit different, okay? The demand is a little bit lower. So, but you will find, like sites where GRE is administered. But you're gonna find, like probably one date a month or one date every 2 months. That's in the case of GRE taken at a TOEFL site. But in the case of a GRE general test at home, it is great because you can take it, like every day, anytime, 24 hours. If you want to take your GRE at home at 1:00 AM in the morning, many people do it because of internet connection, right? And because of the noise, right? Some people say, well, I'm gonna take it early, very early in the morning, 4 AM, because at that time, my connection is better, the children are sleeping, right? Cars, because I live by an avenue, so cars are not there. I mean, there are many cases in which candidates, they make the decision to take the exam at that time. So you can take it at any time and any day. There are some requirements, of course, okay? So you have to use a desktop or a laptop, not a tablet or taking the exam from your cell phone, using your cell phone. That's not possible. Now talking about the operating system, Windows, right? Versions 10, 8, or 7. Most of us, I think that's what we have in our computers, Chrome or Firefox browser. Okay, and you can also use a Mac, and these are the characteristics of the Mac. You can use an internal or external microphone, internal or external speaker. but you cannot use what I'm using right now. Okay, you cannot use a headset or earphones, because in that way, you're not going to be able, number one, to communicate with the proctor. And number two, well, in the case of the GRE, that's not, in the case of TOEFL IBT, you can't use this because the answers for the speaking section are not going to be recorded. Okay, so that's the case of TOEFL IBT. But still, in GRE, you can't use your earphones because you're going to have to communicate with the proctor. So that's not a possibility. Built-in camera in the computer. Yes, that's better, or a separate webcam. You will have to show a 360-degree view of the room, what I just told you at the beginning, including your tabletop surface before the test. So if you're taking your exam from like using a laptop, you just move your laptop and you show wall number 1, wall number 2, wall number 3, wall number 4, ceiling and floor. Okay, and that's all. And to show your tabletop surface, you can use a mirror. In our website, you will see that you can. They give you two options: a mirror, okay, or your cell phone, right? Like the camera of your cell phone. I wouldn't recommend. I wouldn't recommend your cell phone, because then the cell phone is going to stay here in the place where I'm taking the exam, and probably because you're nervous, you're going to forget to turn it off. It has happened a lot, trust me. Yes, and if the proctor sees that you're looking like like somewhere else, like different from your keyboard, your screen, that's going to be considered suspicious, and they are going to cancel your exam. So my recommendation is to use just a mirror. Okay, so with the mirror, you're going to be able to, to show the proctor that everything is fine. Okay. Remember that if you're going to request for special accommodations, okay, if you have like difficulties with, I don't know, with your spine, or you have like visual difficulties, or if you need to drink something or have something because of diabetes, right? Or what else? Well, they can, you can request for these special accommodations, but this has to be done in advance. In our website, you're going to find that they say 1 month before taking your exam. I would highly recommend you to do it at least 2 months before taking your exam. Okay, because sometimes, it takes time to submit all those documents, and sometimes at ETS they say no, this has to be translated, and this is not going to work with this one. So in 2 months you're going to have time to do things, right, to solve all these issues. You can ask for, like extended time, extra breaks, screen magnification, selectable colors, right? So there are many things. So you can visit, this link. And you're gonna see like the list is very long. Here I just have 4, but the list is really, really long. The exam is even in Braille, okay? All right. So the first thing that you're going to do is to check if your computer is going to be okay, it's going to work, okay? For you to test, to take the GRE. So the first thing that you're going to do is to download and install the ETS test browser. Where am I going to find this, Sorani? That's very simple. You visit GRE Home Edition, okay, ETS, and there you're going to find all the links, okay? So there you're going to find ETS test browser, download, okay? And that's going to take you just like, no more than 1 minute. Then you're going to find a link there that says run the Proctoru system check. So you run it, and you're going to see that the system is going to check, your camera, your microphone, everything. So it's going to, and this is going to take, like 50 seconds. And this is the system that is going to tell you, yes, you can take your exam using this computer. So once you feel like your computer is going to be, like perfectly fine for you to take the exam, you're ready to register. So you create your GRE account. Please make sure your name matches the information that you have in your ID. Okay, if you have 2 names, use 2 names. Okay, first name, middle name. If you have 2 last names, use the 2 last names. Sorani, but in the United States, they only use, yeah, that's in the United States. We have two last names, most of us, okay? So two names, that's what you're gonna use when you register for the exam, when you're creating your profile. Two last names, please do not omit, yes, any of those last names. Don't do it, okay? Because then that's how it is going to be. And you, when you get to the TOEFL or GRE site, the proctor or the administrator of the exam, they are going to say, I'm sorry, but this is not you. Your name doesn't match the information that we have here. So you're not going to be allowed to enter the exam. So you create your GRE account, and then that's going to be very simple, right? So you're going to see that you're going to be able to schedule. There you're going to find GRE general test, and then GRE general test at home, okay? That's at home. Same thing, okay? I mean, the example I gave you, like the administrator and the proctor, they are not going to let you in. That's the same case if you're taking the GRE at home, right? You're going to show the proctor your ID. So if this information doesn't match the information he has there, he's going to say, I'm sorry, you can't take the exam today. Please contact GRE, okay? Customer service. And if it happens, Sorani, am I going to lose my money? Yes, because that's your responsibility. That's your responsibility. And that's something that you, I mean, I'm telling you, and that's something that you're going to find in our website. That information is absolutely clear there. Sorani, so in case there's an internet interruption, yes, and I get disconnected, so am I going to lose the money? No, that's different, because that's not under your control. And that's what I'm going to talk about in a minute. So here you have, you know, the way to schedule your exam. You're going to find all the information there, and all, I mean, it's really, really friendly. So you're going to be able to choose any time, any date, right? Any day of the week. So the day of the exam, remember, this is for GRE at home. You have to be in a room completely alone. No cat, no dog, nothing, okay? Just you. Your computer must be on an empty desk or table, okay? So if you have like a phone, make sure it is not going to ring in the middle of the exam, okay? So the idea is to be in a, you know, like in a place similar to the space that I'm sure you're familiar with, like the places, the laboratories they have at the TOEFL sites, okay, at the universities, the ones they use for administering the exam. You must sit in a standard chair. You're not gonna be like laying on your bed taking the exam. You need to have your ID ready. Your ID has to be all the time there with you. A mirror, mobile phone, please. I mean, a mirror. That's the best option, okay? To show the proctor your, you know, your computer and the desk. Note-taking materials. What are the two options? The only two options for GRE at home. These are the options. Small whiteboard, okay, with an erasable marker, or a transparent sheet protector, okay? So you can just, you know, like put a white sheet of paper into that transparent sheet protector and use the erasable marker. Those are the only two options. So as you can see, this is something that not all of us, like we have ready at home. Like all of us, we have a small whiteboard at home. No. So this is something that you need to prepare in advance, okay? Right before taking the exam, please. Sorani, so if I don't have any of these two things, could I ask the proctor to please let me take my notes on a piece of paper? The proctor is going to say, sorry, but you're going to have to reschedule. And again, you know, your money is going to be at risk. So just be ready. Dress appropriately. Your ears cannot be covered by hair, hats, etc. Religious or cultural headwear is subject to inspection. Well, avoid wearing accessories. This is because of the picture that they need to take of you at the beginning, and because they use artificial intelligence, and they are making sure, like from the very beginning till the end of the exam, that the person that started working on the exam is the same person that finishes working on the exam. Okay. Okay, please be on time. Okay, so if you're more than 15 minutes late, your test will be canceled. Again, money is going to be a risk. There's going to be a phone in here in case, you know, your internet connection, you there's a power cut, there's a blackout in your neighborhood. So you're gonna be able to call and just let them know that this thing happened, take pictures like screenshots. I mean, anything you can have as evidence, okay? In this case, I'm gonna be able to help you, okay? So if you have the evidence that there was a power cut, that internet connection, that you lost internet connection, and you're not gonna lose your money for sure. Remember that at the end of the exam, you're gonna be able to view your unofficial scores for the verbal reasoning and quantitative reasoning. You have the option to report or cancel your scores, but you are not going to cancel your scores. Report, never look at cancel, okay? And the proctor is going to ask you to erase all the notes, okay, that you took. Then you're going to receive your scores in 10 to 15 business days. The scores are going to be sent to institutions, to all the institutions, the score recipients that you selected during the, like at the end of the exam, remember? And remember that your scores are valid for 5 years. Okay, so as you can see, it's very simple. All this information is found in our website. Everything is there. And you're gonna find like 3 different videos: how to create an account, the GRE account, how to register for the exam, and how to take the exam at home. So everything is there. So you're not gonna have like any problem. Okay. So if you have questions, remember to type your questions in the chat box. Let's talk about the quantitative reasoning measure. Okay, so we're going to talk, of course, about the types of questions, strategies for answering. I'm going to show you a calculator, and I'm going to share some general strategies with you. So this is what you're going to find. Okay, these are the skills assessed on the quantitative reasoning measure. Basic math skills, basic, not like advanced math, and you're going to say it. So you're going to have to understand elementary mathematical concepts. And this is what I mentioned yesterday, that sometimes we can be good at math, but then when it comes to solve a mathematical operation in English, if we're not familiar with the vocabulary, okay, that's going to be a problem, okay? And the ability to reason quantitatively and to model and solve problems with quantitative methods. Mathematical knowledge expected of the takers. Basic concepts of arithmetic, algebra, geometry, and data analysis. So here we're talking about high school level math and statistics, no higher than algebra 2. That's easy, okay? If it is easy for me, I'm sure it is much easier for you. You're not gonna find anything about trigonometry, calculus, or in higher college level math. So for arithmetic, you're gonna find that they include elementary operations, number line, estimation, percent, ration, rates, absolute value, properties of integers such as divisibility, odd and even integers, and prime numbers. Okay, that's what you're gonna find. Sorani, anything else like different from what you have in there? No, this is what you have to study. Okay, this is all about that you have to review. For algebra, algebraic expressions and manipulations, functions and their reps, coordinate geometry, solving equations and inequalities, modeling and solving word problems with algebra. You see, I mean, this is high school. This is high school. For geometry, elementary geometric figures and concepts such as lines, circles, triangles, quadrilaterals, and other polygons, angle measure, area, perimeter, volume, and the Pythagorean theorem. Intuitive geometric concepts, for example, the sum of any two sides of a triangle is greater than the third side, etc. Okay, the ability to construct proofs is not measured. You're going to be able from the very beginning till the end of the exam to take notes. The proctor and the administrator of the exam, remember, if you're going to take GRE at a TOEFL site, they are going to provide you with scratch paper all the time. If you need additional one, just raise your hand. They're going to provide you with more. And well, in the case of taking the GRE at home, it's going to be even easier because you're going to be using, you know, the erasable marker and that whiteboard. For data analysis, okay, basic descriptive statistics such as mean, median, mode, range, interquartile range, percentile, and standard deviation. frequency distributions, interpretation of data presentations, including bar graphs, line graphs, circle graphs, box plots, and scatter plots. This is what I remember that I covered in my 8th grade here in Colombia. Elementary probability, including random variables and probability distributions, such as the normal distribution, counting methods. So this is for data analysis, Now, let's talk a little bit about the content. Remember that yesterday for the verbal reasoning section of the exam, I talked about the types of questions, and I also talked about the formats of those questions. So here it is just the same, okay? So here, remember that the computer delivered test contains 35-minute sections, 20 questions in each section, okay? That has to be clear. So the question types, here we have multiple choice, selecting one answer choice, same as in the verbal reasoning. Multiple choice, select one or more answer choices, but here we have additional ones. Quantitative comparison questions, and I want to give you examples in a minute. Numeric entry questions. Some questions are in data interpretation sets, several consecutive questions about the same data presentation. Okay, that's important. Some questions involve real life scenarios. And remember that the calculator is going to be provided, available all the time for you. In many cases, chicos, you will see that you don't need it, okay? Because the exercises, the questions are not that complicated. How the quantitative reasoning measure of the computer delivered test is scored. Yesterday, I saw the question, but we didn't have the time to answer. I think we can talk about scoring tomorrow. Okay, we can talk a little bit about scoring tomorrow, and well, not even talk about it, but I'm going to share what's the name? Scoring bulletin. Okay, it is a PDF. I'm going to share it with you so you can clearly understand how your exam is going to be scored. Because if I talk about scoring, that's going to be like a 3-hour presentation. That's long. Okay, but at home, you're going to be able to understand how they score your exam. Okay, so remember that this is section level adaptive. This is section level adaptive. So the computer selects the second section of the measure based on the test taker's performance on the first section. So that's something that you have to remember. Within each section, all questions contribute equally to the final score. Both sections are important since the final score on the measure is based on the total number of correct answers and the level of difficulty of the questions. Okay. So here I have, this is, like a very short explanation on how you're going to be scored, and I'm going to share it with you. But again, I'm sure that scoring bulletin that I'm going to share with you tomorrow is going to be much more complete and I think easier for you to understand. So here it says that the taker's score on the quantitative reasoning measure is based on both sections of the measure and considers the number of right answers as well as the level of difficulty of the questions. First, a raw score is computed. The raw score is the number of questions answered correctly. The raw score is converted to a scaled score. You're going to find this scaled score in that scoring bulletin, okay, through a process known as equating. The equating process accounts for minor variations in difficulty among the different test editions, as well as differences in difficulty among individuals' tests introduced by the section level adaptation. A given scaled score reflects the same level of performance regardless of which section was selected and when the test was taken. So again, this is just an idea about how the exam is scored, how the universities choose you guys as a perfect candidate. Okay, so it has to do with when you took the exam, etc. So here. So remember that these are the types of questions: multiple choice, selecting one or selecting more answers, quantitative comparison, numeric entry, okay, and the questions that are in data interpretation sets. So here we have the first one, strategies for multiple choice, select one answer choice, okay. So the first thing is that the answer is going to be there. That's something that is a fact. So you should examine the answer choices to get like a better sense of what is being asked. Okay, so read carefully. For questions that require approximations, the sticker should scan the answer choices to see how close an approximation is needed. Okay, so this is the first one. Look, you're gonna say, Sorani, yeah, this is really simple. So I need your responses in the chat box, okay? I think 30 seconds. Question, a car got 33 miles per gallon using gasoline that cost $2.95 per gallon. What was the approximate cost in dollars of the gasoline used in driving the car 350 miles? Okay, let's see. Let me see the answers. 30 seconds. I'm sure some of you are going to work on this exercise like really, really quick. Okay. Okay, 10 seconds. Who has the answer? Okay, we got one. Pablo, okay. Pablo is very participative. That's very correct. Okay, thank you. Pablo and Montserrat, correct. You're right. So you see, this is really simple. This is not complicated. So this is one example of a multiple choice question selecting one answer choice. Okay, so here we have, this is, you know, this is my handwriting. This is how I did it. But I mean, I wanted to share this slide with you because in many cases, some of you probably, you need to see like the process. Okay, so here we have the car used 350. So we're dividing this. Here we have 33. And then the cost was 350 and then 33. Okay. And then you're going to multiply this for $2.95. So it is going to give you the answer that is 30. Okay, so there's, you know, like, and remember, like in the second case, you can round the answer. Okay, so you can, in many cases, remember that from the very beginning of the exam till the end, you're gonna be able to take notes. But again, for many of these exercises, you're gonna see that you read, you look at the options, and it's going to be very simple for you to find out what the correct answer is. Another thing is that the calculator, remember that you're gonna be able to use the calculator whenever you need it. So it says the sticker should note whether they are asked to indicate a specific number of answer choices or all choices that apply. So here we have multiple choice selecting one or more. This is something you have to be very careful. This is a very common mistake candidates make. They don't see that sometimes in this type of question, they just choose one. And here we have to choose more than one. So this is the question. Last year, Kate spent between a quarter and a third of her gross income on her mortgage payments. If Kate spent $13,470 of her mortgage payments last year, which of the following could have been her gross income last year? Indicate all such gross incomes, all of them, okay? So I think the answer that I need from you now, okay, there is probably one, probably two, I know, maybe there are two, one, probably there is one that is not going to be included in there. So that's the one I need. And I'm going to give you 30 seconds again. Okay. You have 15 seconds. Okay. All right. Who has the answer? Let me see. Okay. So here we have 47 to 56, 53, 8. Okay. Any other option? So that is the one, I guess, that you consider that is not included in there, right? Okay. Okay, I'm gonna give you the option. All right, Montserrat, just so your correction. Okay, Montserrat, you're very correct. So the first one is the one that is not going to be included in the answer, okay? The rest of them apply. Perfect. So this is multiple choice. Select one or more answer choices. So now this is how we got to that answer. So gross income equals, and here we have what she spent on her mortgage payments, 13,470. Here we have a quarter, and this is how we're gonna get 40,410. Okay, so that's why we have to exclude these 40,200. Okay, you can take a picture of the slide if you want to. Okay. Then we have, this is the third type of question, quantitative comparison questions. Questions of this type ask test takers to compare two quantities, quantity A and quantity B, and then determine which of the following statements describe the comparison. They are going to say quantity A is greater, B is greater, the two quantities are equal, or the relationship cannot be determined from the information given. And this is the example. So here we have this triangle, PQRS, PQ equals PR, quantity A PS, and quantity B is R. And here we have the same options I just read. Okay, so what would the answer be? 1, 2, 3, or 4? I'm gonna give you the same time. Okay. $15. Okay. Okay, Nadia, thank you. Pablo, thank you. So you're saying the relationship cannot be determined from the information given. You're very correct. Excellent. Okay, so PQR is a triangle. Point S is between points P and R, as you can see it. So PS, you know, here we have, okay, PS point, yeah, point S is between point P, okay, yes. So this info is not enough to compare PS and SR. The position of S can vary alongside PR anywhere, yes, anywhere between P and R. So that's the reason why this is the last option. The relationship cannot be determined from the information given. Okay, so you have to become familiar with the answer choices. Avoid unnecessary computations, and this is something that you're going to see, that in many cases, notes are not really necessary because the questions are not that complicated. These geometric figures are not necessarily drawn to scale. That's something that you know. Plug in numbers, simplify the comparison. Okay. Then we have the numeric entry questions. So here you have to enter your answer as an integer or a decimal if there is a single answer box. Enter your answer as a fraction if there are two separate boxes, one for the numerator and the other one for the denominator. So you have to use your computer mouse and keyboard to enter your answer. For a single answer box, a number can be transferred to the box from the on-screen calculator. That's something that you can just copy and paste. Enter the exact answer unless the question requires them to round their answer, right? So a merchant made a profit of $5, let's say, on the sale of a sweater that cost the merchant $15. What is the profit expressed as a percent of the merchant's cost? Give your answer to the nearest whole percent. So here decimals are not going to work. If you write a decimal, the answer is going to be wrong. 30 seconds. Okay, so here I have Noemi Torres. Thank you, Noemi. Montserrat, thank you. Nadia, thank you. Okay, let's see what the correct answer is. 33. And I have more participants. Hector, thank you very much. So remember, Hector, remember that here decimals are not going to work because they are asking for the nearest whole percent. Okay, so an approximation is needed here. So here entering decimals in the box would give an erroneous answer, and this is something that we don't want. Okay, perfect. So this is how I got to them. So it is very simple. I mean, I do remember when I studied like my high school math, and this is why I don't think this section of the exam is that complicated. Okay. So make sure for this type of question, you answer the question that is being asked. So be careful with if they are asking for, you know, like decimals or a fraction. Okay. If asked to round their answer, make sure that you round to the required degree of accuracy and examine your answer to see if it is reasonable with respect to the information given. Okay. This is another example for numeric entry questions. The circles shown are tangent at point B. Point A is the center of the larger circle, and line segment AB, that is not shown, is a diameter of the smaller circle. The area of the smaller circle is what fraction of the area of the larger circle? Let's see your responses. And here, look, it's simple. They are asking for a fraction. Okay. 5. And done. So what are your responses for this one? Okay. All right. So this is the correct answer. It's a quarter. Okay. Thank you, Sophia. Thank you. Yes, it is a quarter. So here we have the formula for the area, famous formula. So for both shapes, the ratio of their areas is equal to the square of the ratio of their lengths. This problem, we can quickly see that the diameter of the smaller circle is half that of the larger one. Okay, so you just need to square in a half, which is going to get us to a quarter. So the small circle has a quarter, right? The area of the larger. Okay. And this is the last one. This is the last type of question. Data interpretation questions are grouped together and refer to the same table, graph, or other data presentation. So these questions ask test takers to interpret or analyze the given data. The types of questions may be multiple choice, both type, you know, one or several answers, okay, or numeric entry. So this is the exercise. So because of the time, okay, I'm gonna give you the answer for this one. So it says in a survey, 100 travel agents, each ranked airlines A, B, and C. So here we have in the second chart, you see the airlines A, B, and C in order of preference. Each of the 100 travel agents also rated the 3 airlines in 5 categories on a scale of 1 through 10, okay? With 10 being the best rating. So here we have all the information, distribution of rankings, average rating, we have the airlines, the categories, okay? And then it says, if each of the average ratings was the arithmetic mean of the ratings given by the 100 travel agents, approximately how much greater was the total of the ratings given to all 3 airlines for reliability than that for promptness, okay? So we have 25, 50, 125, 250, and 500. So these are the options. So here we have the correct answer. It is 250. And here we have like different ways to get to that answer. So you can take a picture, right, of my of my notes. So you see how I got to that. I'm sure you guys, you know much more, you're much better at math than I am, okay? So, because look, in point number one, I needed to, you know, like to write the information about what I knew, the information I had. So what do I know? We want to calculate the difference between the total reliability rating for all 3 airlines combined and the total promptness rating for all 3 airlines combined. In this way, it is easier for me, okay? So the convenience ratings are provided in the table. Look at the notes that I that I had to take, right? Okay, so here we have some formulas and we just modify them a little bit, and we're gonna get to 250, and the closest answer choice, right, is going to be, out of these 5, is going to be 250, okay? So this is the last type of question for this quantitative reasoning section. So you should scan the data presentation briefly to see what it is about. But remember, be very careful with time, okay? Don't spend, you know, like too much time trying to, no, that's not the idea. And what I told you yesterday, you have, I mean, it's not an option. Please answer all the questions of the exam, all of them. You have to guess. Bar graphs and circle graphs, as well as other graphical displays of data, are drawn to scale, so test takers can read or estimate data visually from such graphs. This is also something else, something that helps. The questions are to be answered only on the basis of the data presented, everyday facts, right? Such as the number of days in a year and the test taker's knowledge of math. This is the calculator, remember? And here you have the way to transfer display. It's a simple one, and you're gonna be able to use it like anytime. Remember, become familiar with the format and directions beforehand. I'm gonna give you, right now, I'm gonna give you a link, okay, where you're gonna be able to review, to study, to prepare for this quantitative reasoning with all the concepts and exercises. It is Khan Academy, okay, Khan Academy. So that's where you're gonna find all the information that you need to prepare for GRE. Okay, read carefully. Okay, do not overlook information or misread the question, please. And it happens a lot when, you know, when you're taking this type of exam, because it is normal to feel like anxious and to feel nervous. Okay. Do not make any, you know, like unwarranted assumptions. Not all numbers are integers, nor are all numbers positive. Search for general mathematical relationships among the quantities in a question. Remember, as I said before, geometric figures, they are not drawn to scale. So please avoid estimating sizes by sight, okay, or by measurement on such figures. You can take, I mean, the notes that you feel you need, okay? And it is up to you. But again, you're gonna see that in many cases, you don't need to take notes. Try to avoid lengthy calculations. Try to use time wisely. That's extremely recommended. Some questions are most naturally answered by systematically considering several cases of the situation that is described. Okay. Yes, for many questions, a fast way to a solution is by guessing an answer, especially if you're good at math. You're gonna see it. You have to well, I think that's all. I think that's all you need to know about this section of the exam. Now I'm gonna give you, let me share with you this great link. I like it a lot. Okay. Remember yesterday, here, Khan Academy free GRE preparation. Okay. So this is an alliance we have with Khan Academy. This is gonna be more than enough for you to prepare for this section, trust me. Okay, there you have the email. And that's all I wanted to share. Okay, thank you for your time. Do you have any question? And thank you for your participation.
Thank you, Sorani. You covered a lot in a short space of time. And we did get a few questions while you were going through the presentation. So let me get to those quickly. I know we just have about 5 minutes. So the first question is, based on your experience, is it better to take the test at home or go to a specific location?
Aphasia, based on my experience, like in my case, it is, in the case of GRE, it is much better to take it at home. But that's my case because I trust my computer, because I just live with another person, because I have the way to, you know, to close that door and anybody is going to access the place where I'm taking the exam, because I don't live by an avenue. I live like in the middle of a forest. So it's just not in the middle of I have a forest by my house. so those are the conditions that, you know, like give me the, you know, the possibility to tell you that in my case, I prefer to take it at home. If you don't have like these conditions, I wouldn't risk, you know, like, you know, my exam to be probably canceled. Like if you live with a noisy family, Sorani, I live with 13 people at home, so should I take it at home? No, don't do it.
So it's all based on the student's situation.
Exacto.
Okay. You mentioned Khan Academy, and this question came up before you mentioned Khan Academy, but I'll still ask, could you recommend a good GRE prep course?
Yes, the Power Prep is just this, is the best, Aphasia. The Power Prep
mentioned yesterday as well.
Yes, that's correct. And combine it with this link that I just gave you, because this Khan Academy link is just for the quantitative reasoning section. Okay, quantitative reasoning section.
All right. So someone asked if there's a point deduction when using the calculator.
No, para nada, not at all. Not at all, Aphasia. No, you can use it. I mean, the calculator that the software provides, that the exam provides. Yes, no, not at all. You can use it all the time.
Okay, great. And I'm wondering if this is a similar question. Maybe the student could resend it for me to be sure. But they ask, for the quantitative section, is it better to solve without calculations? I'm not sure if they mean without calculations or without a calculator, but either way, what do you think?
Okay, okay, let me see if I understood what the person is asking. Like, well, the only section in which you really need to use the calculator is in the quantitative reasoning section, and that's it. And you can use it from the beginning till the end. No deduction of points if you use it all the time, right?
Okay.
I don't know if that was the question.
I mean, trying to do operations or using logic to answer. So she just clarified a bit more what she meant.
Okay, it depends on the question, Aphasia. In many cases, like in my case, the last time I took GRE, in fact, it was at home last September. Like in many cases, I didn't have to do any calculations. Like I read the exercise, I read the question, and I said, well, this has to be the answer. Right.
Okay, good. So it depends on the question.
Correct.
And someone also asked, where can I take IELTS online? Okay, so I think that one would not be for you.
No, that's for IELTS.
Exactly.
Okay, I'm not allowed to say IELTS.
Yes, Sorani covers TOEFL and GRE, so that question. But you can reach out to an education advisor near to you, and an education advisor can direct you to that information. And another question that came up is Magoosh a good prep course?
I have heard about magoosh a lot, and what I have heard, I would say not even like most of the comments, but all of them are very positive. Okay. So I'm not familiar with the content of the prep, but I can tell you that the comments have been very positive. So all those resources are, you know, like you're open to use them.
Great. Well, thank you for answering those questions, Sorani. And of course, thank you for today's session. It was very fruitful again in a short space of time. You covered so much.
I know, I was running.
Of course, we look forward to tomorrow's session, which is the last one in this boot camp. And I hope that all of you who are here with us today, that we will see you again tomorrow, same time, same place.
Okay, thank you very much.
Have a good evening. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.